While everybody is hyped about the M4 iPad Pros after using it and the M2 iPad Air for 2 weeks now, I have to say that I think that this is the best tablet in 2024 for multiple reasons, many of which you have not heard about yet. And in this video, I'll explain exactly why, and I think by the end of it, you will agree with me. Now, the first thing is the price point. You can actually pick one up for $754 right now. I'll link it down below, and that is a crazy good deal for what you're getting. This is the first time in years, almost a decade, that you can buy a large, affordable iPad. Apple launched a 12.9-inch iPad Pro in 2015 for $800, but with only 32 gigs of storage, and for a 128, it costs $950. Now, of course, prices should go down over time, or at least the product should get a lot better. But as you've seen, the large iPads have gotten crazy expensive, with the new ones coming in at $1,300 for the M4 model. Now, the previous one was $1,100, the cheapest if you wanted to get a large display. Now, if we take that original $950 and we account for inflation, we're at over $1,250, which is probably why the new ones are priced so high. But this thing at this price point is amazing. Now, I will say yes, the new M4 iPad Pros are nice. They are better in most ways, but based on the software that it runs and everything that we've done with them, I don't think it is worth the price. If you want a tablet, this is the one to get. Now, one reason I really like the new M2 Airs is that they come with 128 gigs of storage, where before an Air got you 64 gigs, which was not enough for most people, and you had to spend $150 more to upgrade, which got you 256. 128 is the perfect amount for a tablet, especially if you use iCloud. So that is fantastic. And of course, you can connect external storage with its fast USB connection. It's not Thunderbolt, but most people don't need that. So for $800 or $754, this thing is a killer value because you don't have to upgrade it. Now, before I give you the other things that really stood out to me while I used it, I want to talk about the keyboards as well. I really liked Apple's Magic Keyboard. I told people it is amazing as long as you purchase it and forget that you spent that amount of money. And the new one is better. It is nicer. Going from this to the old Magic Keyboard with the Air, I definitely noticed the difference, mainly that the trackpad is smaller, it doesn't feel as good. Of course, you don't have the function keys on the top, but it still worked well. And the crazy thing is, you can buy one of these right now, open box, which means somebody just returned it, it's like new, for $139 compared to $350. And even though I have so many Apple products, we do this channel, if that's a price difference, I am buying the old model. And when you factor in getting a keyboard if you're gonna grab one and an iPad, you're looking at $894 compared to $1,650. And after taxes, you're getting close to double the price for the iPad Pro. And another thing people aren't talking about is battery life. These are rated similar, but in the real world, the M2 iPad Air 13-inch is getting 3 to 4 hours better battery life for web browsing, likely because of the display, and the M2 is really efficient. So that has been really surprising. Now, I know some people are gonna say, why not get an older M1 or M2 iPad Pro? Well, I looked at the prices and they are not that low. A lot of times I recommend getting the older models because the prices are deeply discounted, but because Apple raised the prices by $200, they are staying quite high. And there are many advantages of the new Air compared to an older iPad Pro. Well, the first one is with that keyboard, you now have that landscape camera, and that is a big deal if you use it. And with that, you also get to use the new Apple Pencil Pro. Still costs the same amount. You'll have to buy one if you have an older one, but it's a much improved Apple Pencil. You have that squeeze function functionality, you have the haptic feedback, you have the Find My support, you have the barrel roll functionality. So if you're somebody that actually uses an Apple Pencil, the new one is really good and it's worth spending the extra money if you already have a previous one. And that's something you cannot use with the old iPad. Now, another thing that I noticed just while using it was the weight difference. Yes, the thickness on these are the same. You're not getting the ultra thin new iPad Pro design, but it was noticeable even when I wasn't holding them side by side. So I looked it up, and this iPad Air 13-inch, it is actually over 11% lighter than an old iPad Pro 12.9. And so if you're using it handheld, you absolutely notice that. It is really nice. And compared to the new ultra thin M4 iPad Pros, the difference is actually only 6%. So if you like to use your tablet handheld, to me, that is a big deal, especially if you're gonna be playing games on it. Now, one thing that you do miss out on is Face ID. You have Touch ID instead. Is that a massive deal? I don't think so. Face ID is nice, it is better, but this works just fine. And then the next thing I have to talk about is the display. This thing is actually quite nice, better than I expected. Now, of course, in the 12.9, you do get mini LED and you get the new tandem OLED in the iPad Pro. And yes, it is by far the better display, the best display that is out there. But if you've had any other tablet other than a mini LED 12.9 inch, this display is the next best thing that is out there. You get 600 nits compared to 500 nits for the other regular iPads. And with that, it actually has some other benefits that I noticed. Now, you don't get ProMotion, and that's probably the biggest downside that I was expecting. But when using it, I was like, wait, this feels smoother than the other iPads that I used. And so I did some testing. It is actually smoother, and that is because this is a new panel that is in here. That's why it's 600 nits compared to the 11-inch M2 iPad Air, which is 500 nits. It also has better contrast, and it's just a brand new panel. Now, unfortunately, I was not able to find the millisecond response time online. Nobody's really caring or testing. I don't have a tester, but because this is a new panel, it is better than the previous one. So even though it's not as smooth as having ProMotion, it feels a lot better than the previous LCDs. It's something that just jumped out to my eyes. And because of the new panel, HDR videos still look good. Now, of course, if you are watching at night, the blacks are gonna look great. They're not gonna look black. You're not gonna have blooming issues, but you're not gonna have the pure blacks of the OLED, but you're also spending so much less money and using it in your hand in normal lighting, it looks fantastic. So I would be fine with the screen because of that price point. The speakers also sound good. Are they the best out there? No, but they do sound good. They're better than the smaller iPads, stereo speakers. And with that, I wanna talk about the M2 chip. Apple upgraded it in here. Of course, it is not an M4, which is the best of the best. But when we compare the real world performance of the M2 compared to the M4 in real tasks, well, the performance difference was insignificant. It was honestly disappointing how the M4 performs. I know with macOS, you get all the advantages, but I feel like iPadOS is really holding it back. Now, of course, we'll have to wait till WWDC to see what updates we get. And if Apple ends up putting a full desktop OS on here when you have it paired to the tablet, I mean, that's gonna change up the game. If you care about that, I certainly do. But at this moment, how Apple is making and selling these devices, paying this much for a tablet that has crazy performance, but it can't really make use of it, just makes absolutely no sense to me, especially when they created this tablet, which is the best value that we've had for such a long time. If you're looking for a tablet to do tablet things, to be able to pair with an inexpensive keyboard that works great and have the updates with that centrally located camera, the new Apple Pencil, and of course, force software support for a long time because this is a brand new product. I don't think you can get a better deal for such a great device. You guys let me know your thoughts down in the comment section below. If you picked up one of these, let me know how you're liking it. Go ahead and click that circle above because we have a lot of great videos coming up, as well as those two that you guys could check out. This has been Max, and I'll see you in the next one.